This video is brought to you by MoviePalette.com. Hey everyone, do you have a favorite movie that you would love to hang on your wall but you can't think of what scene or what poster to get? Well, now you can get the entire movie on one high quality canvas. With MoviePalette.com, you can get every scene from your favorite movie, or more specifically, the dominant color of every scene from your favorite movie in chronological order on a great high quality canvas. It also comes with a silver engraving of the title down at the bottom. It has rubber stoppers on the back to keep it from bouncing. And they have a huge catalog of what to choose from. Whether you're a horror fan or a fan of sci-fi, Marvel, Japanese anime, Disney animation, drama, or Oscar classics, there's a movie palette for you. Right now, MoviePalette.com is having a sale for 50% off for their Halloween sale. But if you go right now and if you enter room 15, you'll get 15% off of the movie palette of your choice. That's ROOM15 for 15% off of your movie palette. Again, this is a great value for a great piece of home decor that looks great for any film and for any film buff and anywhere in your home. You will definitely like this product. Mine is of The Shining, and I could not be happier with it. So definitely go to MoviePalette.com and enter ROOM15 for 15% off of your palette. Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, back with another review. And this is the second part of what I had planned for the month of October to celebrate Halloween. I'm still going to be doing Stephen King films, but this is another kind of film that I kind of wanted to go through this month, and that is the horror anthologies. I think it was 2 years ago, I got a decent-sized collection of them, and then that was my month of October marathon. And I didn't actually get through all of them, and then last year I was doing a bunch of Gialli. So this year I wanted to finish anthologies, or at least do more of them, because one, I just love horror anthologies. I think they're really fun. I like having hour and a half, 2 hours of a bunch of short stories. I think they're perfect for October. They're kind of like little, sort of like campfire ghost story sessions where you just get a series of different kinds of stories. And I've always loved anthologies. Ever since the first time I saw Creepshow, which I've always credited as the first horror film that I saw that got me into horror, that's still my favorite anthology. And I still have a small handful that I wanted to get to, but I figured this would be a great place to start because this is one I wanted to get back then, but couldn't find it. I know that there's a newer Blu-ray out by Scream Factory, but I found this for cheap this past summer, so I picked it up, saved it for now, and it's John Carpenter, it's Tobe Hooper, a bunch of horror familiar cameos, and it's not a theatrical film. It premiered on Showtime, and it's the 1993 anthology Body Bags. Now, this aired on Showtime because this was going to be originally conceived as Showtime's answer to Tales from the Crypt. They wanted their own sort of campy horror anthology series. So they had like 3 episodes made, or 3 shorts made, and then they just decided not to pursue the series and just put it together as a 90-minute film. But we do get a host, John Carpenter, as this sort of undead coroner, and he is basically the crypt keeper. I mean, he's full of jokes and gags, but more in the typical sardonic John Carpenter sort of way. Not really full of puns or over the top like the crypt keeper. Just kind of John Carpenter himself. Actually looks more like he does now. No offense to him. Just kind of making really dry kind of jokes and sight gags. And we get 3 stories, and the first 2 directed by Carpenter, the third directed by Tobe Hooper, And the whole premise, whereas like Tales from the Crypt is like this big storybook with comic covers, this actually had a really cool idea for how the stories are introduced, and that's every time the coroner, you know, in the morgue goes up to a gurney or pulls uh, one out of the freezer that's in a body bag, you know, something that was murder, suicide, or accident, not natural causes. He tells us the story of how that person died and ended up in a body bag. I thought that was a really cool idea. And I would say this is a very fun film. Uh, it feels more in line with the Tales from the Crypt show. It looks more like a, not really TV, but like premium cable show. It looks like something that would have shown on Showtime or HBO. It has the same kind of quality as, you know, Tales from the Crypt at that time, but has good practical effects. Three very different kinds of stories. You know, we have the slasher, we have the sci-fi, and then we have sort of like the supernatural, I guess, possession type story. So all three are very different. So yeah, it came out in 1993. Also, I think the comedy works. The movie overall has a very campy tone to it, but the intentional humor lies with Carpenter as just this sort of. I guess he has puns, but I love the way he does it. Like where the last story is called "I," so it's like when we cut back to him, he's like back to, and he's like, "Got my eye on you, baby." And he turns around, he's got like this slinky eyeglasses. He keeps dancing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry," and just he's so just dry and sardonic about everything that I think really works. So yeah, two directed by Carpenter, one directed by Hooper. Uh, Larry Sulkus directed the wraparound with Carpenter. Written by Billy Brown and Dan Angel. Music by Carpenter and Jim Lang. I did notice the Carpenter-esque score. I'm not sure. I think he just did his two shorts, or maybe just one of them. And aired August 8th of 93. And is only 91 minutes. Now, which, does it actually say? No, it doesn't say like who composed what as far as those two. But, so as far as the cast, I mean, as I said, we have Carpenter as our host. We have Tom Arnold and Toby Hooper as other people, to other coroners in the morgue, which is sort of like the final gag of the movie. Which even that kind of has a twist. Each story does have its Tales of the Crypt-esque twist to it. Uh, the first short, I would say, is very straightforward. I mean, it's the slasher. Two was sort of like the cautionary or like the morality tale that I thought really captured the essence of Tales from the Crypt. And then the third one, the Eye, is just out there. Um, I will say I do wish that in that final scene when Tom Arnold and Toby Hooper come in as two other coroners, that it was Wes Craven instead of Tom Arnold, because Wes Craven does have a cameo in this. I just think it would have been better if we had Carpenter, Craven, and Hooper all in the same scene together. Craven's cameo was in the first short, so if him and Tom Arnold had just swapped, I think that would have been absolutely phenomenal. Especially now that Craven and Hooper are no longer with us. But the first story is the gas station, which is just about a woman that gets a. It's her first night working the night shift at this gas station, while in the nearby Haddonfield, they actually do say Haddonfield, a maniac has escaped from the mental hospital could be heading her way. So she's skeptical about every customer that comes in. And Wes Craven appears as a customer. Uh, George Buck Flower, who's been in numerous Carpenter films, usually as the bum or the drunk. He's a bum in this one as well. Peter Jason, who's been in a bunch of Carpenter films as well. More so the second half, like Prince of Darkness on. He's a husband. Molly Cheek plays the wife. They're this couple that come in. And there's a twist. Debating on if I just want to say it or spoil it. I mean, it's a 1993 anthology. I don't know if people are really worried about spoilers, but so this is the slasher. A maniac does show up and tries to kill her. The second story is called Hair, which stars Stacy Keach, who I'm a big fan of. I mean, American History X, not Man from Deep River, Mountain of the Cannibal God. He's self-conscious about his hair thinning. Wow, excuse me. He's self-conscious about his hair. He tries everything, and then he goes to this new doctor, played by David Warner, who gives him this transplant that gives him really long, luscious locks. Think the guy from Creepshow 2. But he ends up getting more than he bargained for. And the third one, The Eye, it has Mark Hamill as a baseball player who gets in an accident where he loses his eye. He gets a transplant and starts to see gruesome, grisly visions and believes the previous owner may be possessing him through his eye. That's the layout, or that's essentially the plot for each story without giving away the twist. If you like horror anthologies, definitely check it out. The first and third stories do have really good special effects, practical effects. I think done by K&B, because Greg Nicotero also has a cameo in this. The second story does have CGI, but it's very unique looking. And for being like a TV movie, it looks better than a lot of big Hollywood films with CGI of the mid to late 90s. So really cool optical effects on the second one. It does break it up, the slasher, the sort of light-hearted kind of cautionary tale about hair, and then probably the darkest one about being possessed by this serial killer necrophile with Mark Hamill. So I definitely recommend it. If you're a fan of the Tales of the Crypt show, it's definitely worth checking out. It's definitely in that vein. But you do have the direction of Carpenter and Hooper. So definitely worth checking out. Well, also, before I go to spoilers, just to further entice you more, for cameos, as I said, we have Wes Craven, Sam Raimi, who just plays a dead body, Greg Nicotero, David Naughton from American Werewolf in London, George Buck Flower, Peter Jason, David Warner, Greg Nicotero, Debbie Harry of Blondie. Then, like I said, Mark Hamill, Twiggy, which every time I hear or see Twiggy, I always think of Blues Brothers. Roger Corman, Charles Napier, who's in everything, and Eddie Velez. So really cool, just roster of cameos. Each one is just as fun as the previous one. It's cool seeing all of them. And really just gives it a really fun horror experience. It feels like it's made for fans. And is it the best anthology? No. But it's one of those movies where the camp doesn't get in the way of it because it's intentional. And I thought it was well done. So now I'm going to get to spoilers. So the first story, she's sketched out about each customer that comes in. The twist, which I don't remember because we keep seeing this picture that she knocked over of Sam Raimi that says Employee of the Month. I don't remember if his shirt said Bill or not. Like, that's the giveaway. But we do find out that the guy that showed her around, that she came in, that he left, is the escaped killer. The real attendant was Sam Raimi. He killed him, took his shirt. Pretty sure that picture was the giveaway, but I didn't pick up on it. Really cool camera angles. I mean, it's John Carpenter, so you get really good shot composition, great looking shots, especially when the killer starts going after her. Like, it shows her straight on, and then from him, it's like this upward, like, shining, like when he's got the axe type angle. Uh, and cool death. I mean, he's killed by car lift, which seems kind of cheesy because he could just get up out of the way, but I mean, still a cool death. Here with Stacy Keach, I mean, which I did not realize how at this period in the early '90s how much he looked like Dennis Rader, a BTK, looks just like him. I actually might have liked this one the best, only because it really had the feel, the tone, the kind of like morality or cautionary tale of Tales from the Crypt. Um, it's definitely weird. He notices that his hair is growing exponentially, which is I thought it was going to be like the Jordy Verrill segment in Creepshow, where he just can't stop it growing, that he wants to get rid of it. But he starts getting long strands on his face and his eyebrows and all these sores. We see that when it gets cut, like these little hair-sized kind of inchworms are moving around. He goes back to David Warner, cuts his arm open. All these snake-like hairs come out of his arm. Find out they're aliens. Either looking for like a narcissistic, or feeding off the narcissism of the human race. So hair transplants, so that it's a parasitic alien. That way they can, inject themselves into people and then feed off of them. So the third one, the Eye, which of course this came out when Mark Hamill was voicing Joker on the animated series. He doesn't quite go that level, which it would have been cool if he did. I mean, he probably gives the best performance of the whole film. I mean, he does go crazy, but not like Joker cackling or anything. He's basically just having visions of like a naked woman coming out of the ground in the backyard, or a bloody hand coming out of the garbage disposal. He gets more angry and testy with his wife, played by Twiggy. And yeah, he's convinced that the previous owner of the Eye is starting to either show him things or trying to take over. He finds out it was an executed serial killer, and he eventually is driven to want to kill his wife. And even during the sex scene, he sees her as one of the dead victims of the previous owner. And he's just driven to stab himself in the eye, and he bleeds out. Now, one thing that I thought was going to kind of take away from the experience is our coroner host kind of tells us how these people die when he goes to the body bag. Like, as we're opening the hair segment, he just takes out like a freezer bag with a head in it. He's like, now this guy, he fell from a high-rise onto a moving car, which hit a train. He skidded 90 yards, or 90 feet, underneath the engine. It's amazing what happens to the human body. So he does that with each one. So I was like, well, he's kind of telling us how it ends. But it's still a fun journey to the end of each story. And with Hair, it just kind of ends with Stacy Keach sitting there, realizing what happened to him. It doesn't show him jumping out of the high rise, which is kind of more ominous because you know that's what's going to happen to him. But I still thought, okay, that's a cool setup. And that's probably my favorite part of this whole film, is the actual structure of it, or the formula that it goes for, which is, you know, telling the story by just going to each body and telling us how that person died. It is a shame that this didn't get picked up as a series, even for like a season, because I really enjoyed Carpenter as the host. I would have liked more scenes with him, but I get it. He's just supposed to be the wraparound and the in-betweens. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's been a while since I've watched an anthology, but this is definitely, you know, put me in the mood to watch more. And I think this is the perfect place to start with getting back into anthologies. So yeah, been wanting to see this for a while. I remember seeing this cover at the video store when I was a kid, but I never got around to it. So, and it's always great to see another John Carpenter film that I've never seen before, and Tobe Hooper. So stay tuned for more in the month of October with Stephen King and anthologies. I have a few more of each, and yeah, thank you for watching.